freediving is very different from any sport you've ever done before, and for me it comes down to accepting where you are. So freediving is more like a mental sport. It's a metaphor for life. So if you learn to accept the environment you're in, which is the underwater environment. In the big blue, you're in the ocean, there's pressure from the water, you have to hold your breath. So if you can accept all those factors, those variables, and you learn how to deal with it, then in my opinion, this is a great tool that you can use in your daily life. Because we're always stressed, we work too much, we don't have time to actually stand still and think about our lives, what is truly important and what is not important. And for me personally, freediving has helped me a lot in separating what is not important anymore, and just helping me focus on the true essence of life. So it's a bit philosophical, but I think freedivers in a certain way are a bit philosophical, or at least it makes you think about life. Because when you're underwater and you're holding your breath, you realize that all the things that you worry about in the other world, the above the water world, they do not matter. Because what matters when you're underwater, what is the only thing that matters? It is your next sip of air. Because if you do not get that next sip of air, well, basically you're not gonna make it. I don't want to sound too dramatically, but that's what really it comes down to. You need your next breath of air. So that is the only thing that you can think of. Well, I'm not gonna say that breathing would be a thing that you have to think of, but it is the next step to take when you are underwater. So this narrows down, so from all the sensations and the thoughts you can have, this really narrows down what is truly important. It's just one thing. So if you can focus on only one thing, then this creates a lot of rest, or a lot of tranquility. So freediving teaches you how to deal with anxiety. It teaches you how to deal with stress, and it's a perfect tool that you can use in daily life. For me, it comes down to surrendering. If you learn to surrender to the big blue, surrender to the environment you're in, then you're going to be a better freediver. Because if you resist, it's not working. So if you hold your breath and you feel like, okay, I'm starting to feel some urge to breathe now, and I gotta start breathing again. If you go too much into that feeling, if you resist your breath hold, then it's not gonna work. But if you accept it, if you accept that you cannot take a next sip of air, then it's gonna be easier. So the more difficult things get in freediving, the more you have to accept that and relax even more into it. And that's a valuable lesson that I've learned as a beginner freediver, because in daily life above the water you can use that. So the more difficult things get, the more you even have to relax. I think for me personally that was like the most phenomenal thing that I discovered when I started freediving. So on my YouTube channel, Gert Leroy Master Freediving, I hope to bring that message. It's not so much about how deep you dive, how long can you hold your breath, because those are always the questions that people ask me. That's not what it's about. I mean, sure, we have a competitive aspect in freediving, but that's not all it is, you know. Freediving for me is a tool to use in daily life, a tool to learn to control your mind, to really master your mind, and eventually to become a more happy person and a more balanced person. So if that is what I can bring to my audience on my YouTube channel, then I will be very happy.